Hey guys, it is Dr. Devin Verana. I am going to do things just a little bit different today on If They Knew. You get just little old me for this episode, and I'm taking you into the heartbeat and the story of the big idea. Now, for those of you that are out there saying, the heck is the big idea? Well, this is the episode for you. And for those of you that may have been there in 2019 or 2018 at our very first event, even though you were there, there's some things you might not know. And I want to take you into the history and the feels and my highlights, and then talk about what we're planning here in 2021 and how excited and how timely this is, and how it all started with me saying yes. Okay, so let's go back. Quick rundown. I am a chiropractor, and I started chiropractic school without ever being adjusted. I was pre-med, pre-dentistry. I was a single mom finishing up my time at K-State University, go Cats, and I had, prepped for med school, maybe dental school, didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I passed out at the sight of blood, so surgery was likely out. And I hated taking pills and medication, so drugs didn't seem like a good fit. So I shadowed a dentist, and nothing was clicking. I just knew that I wanted to help a lot of people, make a difference in the world, and provide for my baby boy. And I was bartending at the time to make ends meet, and I waited on this large party, and at the center was this guy, and he seemed to just light up the party. And at the end, he came and he paid the tab, and it stuck with me because I just remember this feeling of, gosh, I want to do that. Here I am, single mom, living in a basement out of boxes, eating ramen noodles. I don't remember eating because it was just trying to pass classes and get on to the next stage of life to make sense of the world for my little boy. And I just remember going, God, I want that kind of freedom. I want to be able to do that for my friends and family. I want to be able to take care of the tab. Strike up conversation. Hey, what do you do? I'm a chiropractor. Oh my gosh, that's fascinating. Where'd you go to school? And he shares a little information. I don't know who that chiropractor was. It wasn't him per se, but it was that conversation that changed the trajectory of my life. Fast forward to me just on a whim looking up Cleveland Chiropractic, where he had said he went to school. And as fate would have it, they are having a discovery day the next week. So I sign up. I go up to the school to take a tour and hear about it. And they're talking all these concepts like the power that made the body heals the body, and from above down, inside out. And if you cut your finger, it knows how to heal itself. And maybe we need less intervention, and we need more faith and trust in our body's own innate intelligence. And I felt like I was hearing words for truth that my bones had always known. To say I was excited would be a wild understatement. I called my mom. I said, I'm going to be a chiropractor. I'm going to chiropractic school. And she said, Devin, you've never been to a chiropractor. I said, I know, but I'm going to do it. And she said, well, how long's the program? I said, I don't know, but I'm in. And she's like, well, how much does it cost? I don't know, but we're doing it. Roman and I are moving to Kansas City. I'm going to be a chiropractor. And it was because of the way I watched fate kind of weave itself into my path. And I felt this knocking from inside my heart saying, open the door, open this one. This one's really good. You want to go here. I felt this nudge and this calling, and I said yes. And I didn't need all the details because my soul knew this was my path. I go to chiropractic school and I fall in love with this profession. I'm still learning about every single day. And go forward a little bit, I was bartending in chiropractic school and reached into the cooler, and my hand stuck in a claw like this, and I cramped up. Oh man, I can feel the pain. And so here I am in chiropractic school. You kind of need your hands, and I am getting a lot of cramping. I can't barely hold a pencil, and I was getting it adjusted, and I was talking to my different professors. I went to a medical doctor. I talked to a physical therapist. I could not get this hand to wake back up, and I'm starting to panic because, my hands, I can't even test take with my right hand. I had to use my left hand to take the test, and I'm going, I need my hand. So again, as fate would have it, my husband's roommate at the time was studying acupuncture, and he said, "Hey, can I stick a few needles in your arm? I think I can help." I hate needles, but I need my hand. So yeah, sure, go for it. He puts a few needles in my arm and hand. Nothing profound right away, but within an hour, it all went away. What had been plaguing me for weeks totally resolved itself like that. Knock, 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 knock. Goes that voice and that nudging from inside my heart. Hey, come here, come here. This is another one of those intuitions trying to lead you down closer to your soul purpose. So I'm like, I don't know what that was, but I need more of it. So I signed up for acupuncture with Dr. Richard Yenny, and the Acupuncture Society of America changed the trajectory of my life. Forward. Dr. Yenny takes us on an opportunity to Beijing, China, a trip that I should probably do a whole podcast about at another time. I meet Master Wan. The 2 weeks there, the doctors that we connected with, the whole experience, and what I learned about health, healing, Chinese medicine, culture around the world, just in general, Eastern versus Western philosophy, changed my life. Now, when we went on that trip and Dr. Yenny's assistant called and said, "Hey, we want you guys to go," I said, "Pat, we're broke. I just had a set of twins. We just opened practice." And yet I heard that thing knocking at the door of my heart saying, "Come on, I know it's scary. I know it feels like you might not have the money. You don't really know why I'm taking you, but you got to come." And I said, yes. And it has empowered my time in practice, but also as a human beyond anything I could ever put words to. So I'm starting to see a pattern here, right? It's tying me to people, to places, to lessons that I never could have planned for. And it came down to saying yes. It came down to listening when there was a knocking from within my heart trying to take me somewhere special. I have a lot of stories like that, but I'm going to fast forward to 2016. 2016, New Year's Day comes. My mom was on hospice, and I was pregnant with my second set of twins. I was running a busy practice. I would wake up in the morning and call her, text her, check in with my dad. I would take care of my 3 boys, kiss my husband, go to work, serve as many people as I could, run at lunch to go see her or take her to a doctor's appointment, or run 100 other errands that I had going on, then go back to work in the afternoon, then get off work, eat dinner, or grab the kids and take them to mom's house. And for months, there was this spiral happening because we knew that she was transitioning to where we go when we leave this earth. And I was fighting that transition. So I was 1 foot in death with my mother and 1 foot in birth with a second set of twins, and at war, quite frankly, with myself and God. And it was rough. Definitely one of those great carving outs of my heart and soul. January 4th, I had the divine privilege of watching my sweet mother and best friend draw her last breath in her body. A moment that will stick with me for the rest of my life. And I felt a type of pain that I've never felt before, and that unless you've experienced it, I'm not sure you can describe. That was January, followed by a few hard months, physically, emotionally, spiritually, just putting 1 foot in front of the other. And in June of 2016, it was time to give birth to these beautiful babies. And also probably another podcast in and of itself to share birth stories. Magnolia was a euphoric birth experience, no epidural, totally connected in this circle of life moment where I had watched my mom take her last breath, and now I'm watching my daughter draw her first breath on my chest. Beautiful moment. And then I crashed. Um, I had nothing left to give. And Phoenix was not ready to come out, probably because of me not being ready or not having anything left to give. And so midwife, OB, those moments moved really fast. Again, that's a big story that I need to share at another time. But long story short, it was an emergency C-section. So I got to have a vaginal birth and a C-section, and I couldn't even stand up for days. I mean, I like the trauma was so great that yeah, it was a lot. So my husband had to go home to hold down our practices and take care of the 3 boys, and I'm in the hospital with these 2 babies, and I can't even stand up physically, spiritually. If there was one dark night of the soul, I was there in 2016. And I felt so much shame for having a C-section as a chiropractor and not doing birth right. I felt anger at God for taking my mother. I was exhausted and took about 5 or 6 weeks and jumped back into practice. So, I mean, it was just a whirlwind, right? So I'm sharing all of these things that brought me to 2016. And I just remember feeling a little outside my body, where I had a beautiful life. I had 5 gorgeous, perfect, healthy, thriving kids. I had an amazing husband. We had a wonderful house. We had great cars. Everything was good, but I was very broken. And doing my best to just keep going because everything was good. I'm good. I'm good. We're fine. I'm fine. He's fine. You're fine. Everybody's fine. So not fine. And I went seeking in the quiet, right? Listening to audiobooks and podcasts and like, what's the point? Like, how could you, right? I'm in dialogue with God and, cursing that all these things in 2016 had happened. So 2017 happens, and I go to an event, Focus, and I hear all these empowering speakers, and I start to feel the breath of life coming back inside my body. And if anybody has had one of those crumbling, shattering seasons of life where you're breathing and you're going through motion, but you're almost blacked out, you don't really remember it, and then all of a sudden I'm back. And it was like a whiplash had gone through my life in 2016. And in fall of 17, I'm back, and I know exactly where I was at. I was on a golf cart in a field with my husband and our kids. And I said, we got to have an event. And it was this knocking in my heart and soul I told the story at Focus OKC of my 2016, of these shatterings, of these breakings, of the shame, all these things. And I had so many people come up and talk to me afterwards saying, I went through something similar. I'm going through something similar. Oh my gosh, it was like you were reading a page out of my book. And I went, oh, I'm not different. We all have these things. We all have these seasons and cycles and breakings, shatterings, and new life, right? These seasons and cycles. And so I said, Joe, we got to bring people here, because if we just went to Focus and we're going to all these things and there's people out there going through this, we got to bring the storytellers to Wichita, because I got to bring this here for our practice members. I got to help them. I got to do more. I got to do more. I got to do more. A storyline that just cycles and repeats and wakes me up at night and keeps me up at night. And I got to do more. There's suffering out there. There's suffering in me, and I can't take it, and it's so painful, and I got to do something about it. And that was the big idea in its first flash. I said, we're going to put up a tent. We're just going to throw a party, and we're going to bring people here just one time. I'm going to get a DJ. It'll be kind of like Tony Robbins, and we'll play some music, and we'll bring some cool speakers to come talk, and we'll hang out, and it'll be great. And it was. We had our first one in 2018. Mother Nature played some tricks, but it was life-changing. And the party that was only supposed to be once, we had to do it again because we went from 80-degree sunshine to freezing cold heaters and lightning and storms and rain and floods and generators. It was chaos. And I got messages from people saying, "You saved my life. You changed that event changed my life. That speaker's story saved my marriage. That speaker's share or tips or tools makes me feel alive again." And I'm reading all these things going, oh, we just need opportunities to hear each other's stories. The magic's in our stories. It's in our stories. In the conception of the big idea, a logo was made. And it wasn't an easy process. I was like, I know what I see in my head to represent this event, but I don't know. And we went through a lot of different drafts. And the very last one, when I was ready to quit this artist, was the light bulb that has now become the big idea and the logo for our clothing that we put out, and for my practice, it's this guy up here. And it's all the colors of the rainbow, of the chakras. It's sacred geometry, and it is, like Prince, right? Prince is just a symbol, because it transcends words. And to me, it is a movement to bring people together. To me, it is a disruption of the way that we have done healthcare in the past, and an innovation of how we can do healing and transformation and thriving in the future. To me, it is the powerful, game-changing premise that your power is within you. You need nothing out there because you have it in here. You are powerful beyond measure. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. That is this bulb. That is the big idea. Now, trying to explain that to people when it's been this birthing literally of myself, right? I was becoming medicine I needed. I was leaning into those gaping wounds that gut me in 2016, and that I was still probably hanging on to from my, bitter, scared, protective single mother days. It was things that I had locked inside as a child or a young girl, or, it was all these things that I had kind of clawed my way through a season of life. And then in listening to how to bring breath back into my own body, and how to heal my own heart, about how to free my own mind at all these different events that I had gone to or hosted, the big idea was born. The driving fire in my soul for the big idea is to provide space, sacred healing space, to my practice members, to my friends, to my family, to anyone and absolutely everyone who wants more out of life, to the women who are exhausted, spinning all the plates, giving out everything they've got and not taking the time to pour back into themselves, to the men that are worn out and, quite frankly, over the notion that this masculine overdrive, like that guys don't cry, that they have to be tough through all things, or that they have to have it all figured out. I want to create a space where they can feel and heal as well. I want to create space for men and women, for couples to come together to heal their old traumas. I want to talk about what health really is from a physical standpoint, from a emotional standpoint, chemical standpoint, because it's not just one thing and it's different for all of us. So it is all the colors of the rainbow, and it is activating all the 7 centers of the chakras, because that's the game. That's the infinite game. That's the never-ending journey of health and healing potential and life. Now, this year, we didn't do one in 2020. I pushed pause and went all in with Kansans for Health Freedom for the Freedom Revival in the Heartland, and it was amazing. You've got to hear lots of the speakers from there on this podcast, and so I feel like I had some fuel, extra fuel from not getting to do 2020, and from, quite frankly, going to more of a space of listening over the last year, and now 2021, we get to do it. And I said from the get-go, I do not want to do a health freedom event. I don't want to do it. I want to talk about what I'm for. I don't want to talk about what I'm against. I don't want to feed narratives. I don't want to amplify chaos by stirring the pot even more. I'm not doing it. I don't want to talk about any of that stuff. And then I went, you know what? We got to talk about it. We got to talk about all of it. We got to talk about the stuff that really pisses us off. We got to talk about the stuff that we're angry about. We got to talk about the stuff that we're really sad about. We got to talk about all this dis-ease and dysfunction and chaos and frustration that we have trapped inside our systems, because my greatest fear is not wrapped around a virus. My greatest fear about what we've gone through individually and collectively over the last 14 months is centered around everything that we haven't integrated or fully processed. We've been so busy doing what I was doing back in 2016, going, I'm fine, until you are smacked in the, you're not fine. I wasn't fine. We are not fine. And something that Dr. Zach Bush said to my friend and I when we went for a visit a few weeks ago was, women need to storm the gate and say, enough is enough. We've got to stop reassuring everyone that everything's okay, because everything is not okay. There are some things breaking that need to break so that we can rebuild them. There are some systems that are crashing that we need to let crash. So it's a different perspective for me watching and observing 2020 and 2021, because I lived in a storm and a tornado in 2016 and 2017 that resembles this to me. It's fine. Not fine. We need to heal some very broken things. We need to make some new decisions to set life on a new and healthier, happier trajectory of life. And so how do we do that? So the big idea this year, just going to rapid fire through our special guests that I have on my handy dandy sheet here. If you haven't got your ticket, here's my plug. Get your ass to the big idea in Wichita, Kansas on June 25th and June 26th. Why? Because life is for living. Why? Because you have more inside of you, more to give in your health, more to feel in your happiness, more to tap into when it comes to freedom and living in your purpose and your power. And I know that we don't reach the pinnacle of our potential in our comfort zone. So sometimes we have to get into the unknown. Sometimes we have to shake it up and wake it up with other people who bring it out of us. And that is the space. That is that sacred space I was talking about. So, Del Bigtree. Now, if any of you have watched the podcast that I did with him, you know what I'm talking about. And amplify that by about 1,000. And that's what it's like to feel him in person. The guy takes my soul to church. I just cry when he talks because my soul knows truth when he speaks. He he doesn't script anything. It just comes through, and it's so powerful and so freeing and so necessary. You know, in a fog of not knowing what's real and what's not, in a fog of lies, light is so recognizable. Truth is so crystal clear, and that is Del Bigtree. Dr. Bradley Campbell is coming, and this guy, you got to go follow him on Instagram. He'll probably get deleted again, but he brings humor to this conversation, and you'll see his podcast coming out later this week where he talks about the many disciplines, his insane healing journey that he went on himself as a young boy, and how he became the healing and the medicine that he needed back in the day. He is wickedly smart, and has a depth of, I don't know what he's going to talk about in his time frame, because he could pull from so many different avenues, and he's hilarious, and he's bringing his dog. Go follow him on social. He's amazing. Dr. Lona Cook is presenting on Friday. Friday is for chiropractors. Friday during the day, 1 to 5:30, is for chiropractors, because I want to get teams fired up. Oh my gosh, we could be serving so much bigger than we are. And by we, I mean me. So I'm bringing in what I need. And I need Tim Young to remind me the power of the adjustment and that I hold in my hands when I lay hands on human beings. He reminds me of the soul and the focus that I have to have with each and every one. I need Dr. Lona to expand my vision of what is possible for my practice, for my community, for my team, for this profession. I need Dr. Billy DeMoss to help remind me that no one's shackling my voice, that no one is keeping me back, that I don't give permission to. And he is going to help us witness authentic communication, which this world needs a whole lot more of right now. And Dr. Katina Manning is bringing us the love and joy, because we are taking ourselves too damn seriously, and the way to joy is laughter and smiling and hugs, and nobody does that like Dr. Katina. So, tangent, coming back to Dr. Lona, my girl. I'm going to put a link to her book, Reclamation, that she just put out. I'm bringing here to expand the vision of chiropractic teams, because I believe she can see the future. I believe she can see into what is possible. And when you've been around her, you just think bigger. And I think that's a sacred gift that my friend has. Dr. Billy DeMoss. Well, he's going to speak on Friday and Saturday, because he's coming from California. And quite frankly, when people are like, the hats and the feathers, and you have this like vibe going, I think for a long time I was who I thought people wanted me to be. And then I got to hang around people who were truly authentically themselves. And I was like, all right, time to shed all the contradictions, time to show up in this world as me. And Billy and CalJam and the speaking opportunities that he gifted me, and the trust that he gave me, and the amazing people that he brought to his events that I've gone to for years now, are a big motivation for the big idea. So he gets to talk to both the chiropractors and the main event on Saturday, because, well, it's Billy. And I can't even describe him. I'm not going to try. You're just going to have to show up for that one, because it's a show, and it's amazing. Andrew Genovese just had a podcast about breath being life. He's going to do a sacred breath work, dimensional breath work on Sunday. So make sure I'll put a link for that on here as well. That's separate. He's hosting on Sunday. And for me, holotropic breath work has been the most healing, freeing experience of any modality I've ever used. So I've been adjusted, I've done acupuncture, and I love all of those things. And I want all of those things, and breath is just next level, because it's just you and you. and you breathe out the physical tension in your body, and you breathe out the emotional subluxations and stuck points that you have inside of you, and you breathe out frustrations and angers and shames, and you don't have to talk therapy it out forever. You just breathe. And he's going to talk to us about breath. Miss Rachel Haber is a mother from my practice, and the mother of a little boy who's changed my life in more ways than I'll ever be able to put words to. So she's going to share her story. She's going to share Baker's story. She's going to share her family's journey. And go listen to her podcast. And then we're going to take it deeper and wider and really share the bigness of the heart that so many other mothers and families are journeying through. So I cannot wait to have her. Dr. Stan Home, Future Generations podcast, is going to be with us. And this guy just like he takes action. So he has gotten after it. He is a serviceman. He has a practice in San Diego. He's a father. He's a servant. He is a servant. And brave hearts, lion hearts, those gladiators, the world needs that. Like he, when I talked about the big idea being for men so they could come and heal and feel like he is very in tune and in touch with being soft and sensitive and strong and powerful. And I think he's going to help hold all of us to taking bigger action in our own lives. Dr. Katina Manning, my love girl, my joy girl, she's going to help reset the chiropractic heart on Friday. You'll see her, and she is the most contagious rainbow of joy you will ever see in your whole life. So I won't even have to introduce you to her because you will feel her from a mile away, and we could all take a lesson from that. Dr. Jessica Petras, she's a medical doctor. She's going to help us bridge the gap because I don't want to be anti-science. I don't want to be anti-medicine. I don't want to be anti. That's divisive language used purposefully, and it doesn't have to be that way. I want to work with doctors of all disciplines. I want to work with people of all perspectives, and ultimately, the doctor of the future is the patient. So I want to surround myself with medical doctors like her, with naturopaths, homeopaths, chiropractors, acupuncturists, anybody who seeks to empower the patient, and she does in a big way. Dr. Ben Tapper, fire. He's just pure fire. I'll just go watch the link of Dr. Ben sharing at his town hall meeting, and that'll sum that up. He like Del Bigtree, just takes you to church. He's a lion, and he's going to help us all roar just a little bit louder. Dr. Tim Young is going to share with our chiropractic group on Friday, talking about the power that made the body, healing the body. He is one of the great mentors of my life and one of the most pure gold souls that I've ever known. Alec and Ali Zek is mother and son, and they have a very powerful story. A lot of you follow them on social, and they have big healing journeys, truth journeys. Alec was, I believe, a West Point grad and has just recently served, his time in the armed services. And Ali, I mean, guys, I can't put their story into words. But again, the depth from which they can share it's so big. And it is going to help us generationally heal. Because where Alec will share what his mom went through, he talked about how that transmuted into healing of his own. And now how that will change the trajectory for his own kids. And how a lot of the stuff we carry, we locked in as kids. And so they're so raw and real and refreshing. So go follow them on social because they're amazing. Dr. Sejoy Mackey here from Wichita. She was at the Freedom Revival. She's going to talk homeopathy. And, what we're doing is creating a new world. And she's going to help you look at your medicine cabinet and more natural, gentle things that you can replace it with. And, I think we get locked in this polarity, and she's going to, again, help us bridge the gaps and help us learn more about resources that we have at our fingertips all the time. So, really excited for her. And then I'm going to say my two favorite speakers of 2021 coming in hot. Dr. Joey Verana, my husband, my partner in chiropractic and life, the father of my children, my love doctor, my man, and my very best friend. And he is a big teddy bear. So he'll cry and pace like a lion because he just has, I know few people on this planet that have a bigger heart than my guy. And I know he's waited a long time to share as well. So I'm excited to hear what he has to say. And then the top, right? We're going to end where we began, about the little boy that I talked about. The one that came before I was ready, and the one who taught me more than I think I've taught him, my Roman. He's 16, and he's been through a lot in his 16 years. He tore his ACL last year. He transferred schools last year. He is a teenager, and I think we wildly downplay what the youth went through last year. And he is a voice for our future. And when I jokingly was like, hey man, you want to speak at this year's big idea? And he was like, yeah. Like, really? Like, in front of hundreds of people? Yeah. I was like, well, what are you going to say? He's like, I don't know, but I'll know when it's time. And I think about those knocks on the door and how I learned to say yes, and I learned to listen within, and then it led me to all these grand adventures and greater understandings of God and life and love. And he's been with me through all of that. He's been the driving momentum and reason why for all of it. And so to get to bring my kiddos to the stage, and for him to share his heart after, well, I mean, it brings it all full circle again in a way that I never could have planned for. And there was no coercing. He totally volunteered, so I have no idea what he's going to say. And it's probably going to be my 2021 highlight, because it's been a lifetime to get there with him. So the big idea summed up in, I don't know where we're at, 30 plus minutes, right? Because it is big. And the event was all about, what can I do? How can I do more? And then the event wasn't enough. And then my practice wasn't enough. And so I had to do the podcast, because I know that there's nothing out there. There's no one coming to save the day. We are the heroes of our own stories, and life lessons and books and teachers and events will ultimately, wherever you go, there you are. What's different now, I'm still going to do my practice. I'm still going to do the big idea. I'm still going to keep rocking this podcast because I love it and it brings me a lot of joy and I get to connect with a lot of amazing people. But it's no longer because I want to do more or achieve more, create more. It's every episode, including this one, in getting an opportunity to take very special and intentional time to retell my own story helps me unlock some of those areas that I had forgotten what my body and heart and mind had gone through. As I become who I needed back in the day, I heal myself and I hopefully help people along the way. So it's not just about doing more, because I'm always going to want to do more. All right, God made me a fire element, a little girl with a big old heart and an even bigger mouth, I think. I'm not going to stop. wanting to do more, but now it doesn't come from sadness, and it doesn't come from regret, and it doesn't come from anger. I want to do more because I know I can. And because one podcast episode might help one other person on the other end. And because this event, while there will be hundreds of people there, by the way, did I mention go get your ticket? But there'll be hundreds, and yet it might be a week after the event, it might be a year after, it might be 2 decades after. There will be a story or a text message, and one person will say, that day changed my life. And I'll know why I say yes. And I'll remember why when my innate, the little whisper inside of me says, hey, I need you. I need you to help me bring a big idea to life. I'll remember why I say yes. So I really hope you come and play. But whether it's at this one in 2021 or at an event in the future or here in Wichita at my practice, I'm just here. So if I can help you in any way, if I can help connect dots or lay breadcrumbs or shine light into darkness that you might be walking through, you, my friend, are the reason why. And I don't have to know you because we come from the same place and we go to the same place. And when I heal, I know we all heal. And when you heal, I heal. And then the world gets brighter. And I get closer to God. And we get closer to one another. That's the biggest idea I could ever embrace. So this is Dr. Devin signing out of this episode of If They Knew. So if you didn't know what the big idea was or where it came from, you know now. You know now. And I love you. Let's keep on keeping on. I'll see you in June in Wichita. Rock on, my friends. Time to rise and shine. Mwah!